everyone. Welcome back to Two Marks and a Spark. We're recording this like 3 days later than we planned to.
Yes.
A whole bunch of scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. Anyway,
Time for the par for the course with me. Sorry about that.
well, it happens. No worries. Anyway, we're back. Uh, Lot to talk about in wrestling. Let's first cover the weirdest news, which was Trey Miguel was in AEW along with the rest of the Rascals,
The
and
Rascals.
and then he wasn't.
I saw him one time and you blink, you miss it.
So the reason he was fired is from some old comments, I do mean old, that WBD reportedly considered problematic. Whatever that means, I don't know.
Do you have any idea what these comments were about?
I do. There was some slurs in there that he shouldn't have been using. But again, this is like Jay Briscoe type stuff in terms
Yep.
of it's old and so on and so forth. Now, I heard a little bit of what he said. It wasn't good,
All right.
but like at the same time, it has been 6 years. This is all from 2019. This is all stemming from 2019 when like some fans were trolling him or whatever, and he fed into the trolls too much and said some shit he shouldn't have. Now, worth noting, that was never a problem in TNA, and it was never a problem in WWE. It sounds like this came from Warner Brothers Discovery
Mm-hmm.
because the reporting out of the AEW environment is pretty much nobody agreed with it.
Right.
Like sometimes you'll see a guy get released or whatever, and everybody's kind of like, "Oh, thank fucking God," and sometimes you'll see a guy get released, and everybody's like, "What? Why?"
Right.
And that's kind of what happened here. Anyway, Trey Miguel's back in TNA,
Yes, he
and
is.
he had a feast or fired match last Thursday. And man, if that guy opens that briefcase and he's fired, they need to put that brother in a padded room. Jesus Christ.
Well, I got to be honest with you. When I heard that the Rascals were coming to AEW, I didn't get excited because I've never been a big fan of the Rascals. I thought it was kind of a silly name. It reminds me of the Little Rascals comedy shorts they did back in the early days of Hollywood. It just never worked with me. I'm not saying they're bad workers. I'm just saying it's just definitely not in my wheelhouse.
They have a goofy name, but they're all very good workers, Trey Miguel included.
Yes.
Now, look,
Are they supposed to be stoners or something?
yes,
Well, they make stoners look like a bunch of damn goofballs instead of the highly intellectual, highly patriotic, fine citizens that we are.
Russ, we're goofballs.
I can be.
Can be Russ.
Yeah, okay. You got me there.
Anyway, so Trey Miguel is no longer in AEW. Speaking of AEW, Russ, let's briefly cover Dynamite from last week. By the time this show goes up, there's probably another Dynamite episode on right now.
Okay.
So I thought Dynamite was a good show last week.
It
Uh,
was. It was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't horrible. It was just pretty good. They had a lot of good moments. They have a lot of good workers. In general, I like the pacing and the structure of the AEW shows so much better than WWE. You know, Bruce Pritchard has gone on record saying that 4 matches for a premium live event is ideal. That's the best. And I have no
that's not
idea.
enough.
Oh, no. I mean, that's ridiculous. I think he's saying that because that's what the owners want. And so
That's
that's the
exactly what he's
creative
doing.
line that they have to push right now, that it somehow it all makes sense, which it doesn't to me. This, basically, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, or the WWE PLEs, we've got a couple of dozen workers that we see constantly, the same pool. How many matches have we seen with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley versus the
The
Kabuki
Judgment Day
Warrior or the
or the
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
Yes, right. I
Listen,
mean,
and that's not to take anything away from those women either, because they're all very talented and they're all really good workers. But does Hunter just think there's a lack of depth? Is that the problem? Because that's how this reads. It reads as Hunter doesn't think they have the depth to put more than, like you said, a couple dozen guys and girls on TV at once. That
right,
just reads as you don't have the depth. That's how that
right.
looks.
And I don't buy that. I look at some of the talent that's not being used at all that we never see on TV, and I see great potential. Um, One of the things I liked about the old WCW shows was you got a wide variety of many, many different styles and levels of wrestlers and types of gimmicks and types of matches. It was a real true variety show. And you probably didn't love everything on the card, but there was enough to keep you interested, keep you entertained. And that is definitely not the case with today's WWE premium live events, in my
No,
opinion.
no. Another bit of AEW news that I just want to cover briefly. So Turner and obviously WBD selling to Netflix, at least Warner Brothers is. It would seem AEW was not listed on the internal documents in terms of television rights for Netflix, which makes sense because I don't think Netflix would have been able to take it anyway. Not with the
Right,
WWE deal, because there's always a non compete in the WWE deals. So for now, AEW appears that it will stay on HBO Max, but at some point it is going to move to the Turner Sports app that is launching next year, presumably following this deal going through. There is another piece of this, which is WBD reportedly owns 5% of the company. Now,
right,
that's not anything major, but they own a piece of the company. The other thing is it's not expected that Turner slash Discovery slash whatever is going to make any large overture to keep AEW when their contract expires because they're going to be a much smaller company at that point. It's just going to be Discovery again. Zaslav is losing his mind. I I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, I hope James Gunn keeps his job because he's doing a good job with DC. But my goodness.
yeah.
Anyway,
DC,
let's.
DC will continue to, that's a comic book prediction. DC will continue to dominate Marvel for the next year at least.
Well, we'll see what happens with this Netflix thing. That
Right.
that could change this whole thing. Market wise, especially. Anyway, let's talk about Saturday night's main event. I thought this show moved like a snail.
Oh boy, was I ever, this was hard to get through. It really was.
There was one awesome match on this show, and everything else was take it or fucking leave it.
and
Okay,
that
maybe
match
two.
was
AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
yeah, a great match.
Fantastic.
Yep. And this is the type of thing that we just don't see often enough. Because, like I said, Shinsuke Nakamura is not one of those who's usually, I mean, he's not seen on TV that much in recent months, you know?
This show started with Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu brawling. This match never actually got started.
Right.
And the brawl was entertaining. Like, this was a fun part of the show, but it went on forever. I mean, they just, every time you thought the segment was over, they just kept going. And then here comes fucking Drew McIntyre, who you wouldn't know he's the WWE champion by how they're booking him right now.
Good point.
You wouldn't know. I mean, Jesus Christ. Anyway, he attacks both guys. They both get laid out, whatever. We then have Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez against Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. All of these matches are good, but I've seen it like four times now. So, like,
Yeah.
anyway,
And they're not
Io
really
and
good. they're not really doing anything new and innovative that I could see, unless I'm just missing it.
Io and Rhea win the tag titles,
Yeah, and I got no
which makes
problem with that.
sense. Which makes sense. I get that. They're two of the top babyface females in the company. That makes sense. And they're a good tag team, so that makes sense. We then had Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles. This was fucking awesome. It was too short,
Yep, best match of the week, possibly.
I would argue. And then we had this fucking four way. This
Oh,
goddamn four way. This fucking thing. Damian
listen,
Priest,
it's always a
Damian Priest, Randy Orton, Trick Williams, who I'm shocked they actually let in the match, and
I,
Sami Zayn.
Trick Williams. I'm surprised he's been pushed as far as he has. He's not a bad worker, and he's a real good talker. But
He's new. That's the thing. They don't
worker
usually
booking
push.
him hasn't convinced me that he's on that level yet. You know?
Well, they kind of need him to be. Um. Anyway, Zayn wins. Looks like he's going to get attacked by McIntyre again. Drew McIntyre was busy on this show,
Yeah,
and they fucking Sammy clears him out. It's Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble.
correct. This Saturday,
That show starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
right? Well, actually, noon here, I think.
No, it's
What?
1 o'clock
What?
because it's 2 o'clock Eastern. It's two
Okay,
o'clock Eastern.
all right.
I thought it was noon too. Anyway, let's talk about Raw. This
Last
fucking
night,
show.
or not
Monday.
last night? I mean, night before last, I guess. Now, yeah.
This fucking show.
Well, it was a 3 hour show, and
And
you
feel
fast
like it.
forward parts, it was too long for me. This show seemed to drag, really drag, and I don't know how long they could keep going with the endless recaps and repackages. The entrances is probably the most egregiously awful thing. It used to be, you could have entrances, backstage vignettes, promos, video packages, and still have 12 matches in a show and still be entertaining. What the hell happened? I don't understand this incredibly slow pace to the WWE shows. It doesn't come across to me as like grandeur and spectacle. It comes across as being overblown and overdone and boring as hell.
Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about this show because we are in a bit of a time crunch, and I do want to talk about the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
This show started with a tremendous AJ Styles promo. Who, if he's done after Saturday, this was one hell of a way to go out. He gets cut off by Punk. They set up a match for later in the night. We'll talk about that in a second. We had Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley against Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez.
yes. But once
What the
again,
hell was this?
great talent that's just kind of thrown together again. I tell you, the storyline just doesn't ever seem to move ahead.
No.
It just seems stuck. Just like what they're doing with Finn Balor is a good example. Judgment Day, stuck.
Speaking of stuck, we then had the Vision come out and cut a promo.
Right.
Talk about a bunch of guys who are going a whole lot of nowhere.
That's
Even
really
though
sad, because I tell you what, Seth's Rollins injury just took the gas right out of that whole gimmick, that whole thing, that whole storyline. To me, it just crashed. They had to pivot and turn, obviously, but
well, the problem is they brought in Austin Theory. That's the problem. Anyway, this
and
promo,
that's unfortunate because Austin Theory is a good worker who's always been badly used, and I'm just not
he's not
convinced
even a
this.
good worker. I wouldn't even go that far.
I think he's pretty good. I just don't think this is going to get him over with the crowd.
Anyway, this promo leads to Braun Breaker being reinstated because remember he was suspended.
Correct. And they
Um,
got a whole thing going on here with the general manager, with old scrap iron, Adam Pierce. You know, they always tease it that he's going to get physically involved, but I don't think he will.
I don't know. He looks like he could though. Anyway,
He looks to be in great shape.
yeah.
I would love to
We,
see him wrestle again if he wants to.
Pierce announces they're all in the Rumble and then makes a match of Rey Mysterio versus Austin Theory. This match went on and on and on, and Theory won, and no one cared.
Exactly. See what I mean? This is not getting him over. And I just agree. I think Austin Theory deserves a push, but not like this.
We then had one of the most hilarious Michael Cole sit down interviews I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
This sit down interview with Gunther was not supposed to be funny, but it
right. But it
definitely
was.
was.
Yeah, that's right. And he turned the tables on Michael Cole and grilled him a little bit. It was funny. I thought it was very entertaining. I think Gunther's a great heel.
Gunther threatens to end Michael Cole's career before ending AJ Styles' career on Saturday.
Yeah.
This was
Which right
ridiculous.
where now Michael Cole's a veteran, you know?
And Gunther's on a retiring people streak at the moment. Goldberg, Cena, potentially AJ.
Correct.
By the way, AJ did hint earlier in the show that he may be going back to TNA post Saturday. So, or he could be going to
Yeah.
AEW because remember in 2019 when the company started, his contract was almost up and he was
Right.
that close to going.
Well, I
So,
think AJ Styles would be a good addition to either one of those companies. Especially TNA needs something. They need a shot in the arm because yeah, I I'll be interested to see what the numbers are, you know, on their ratings and ticket sales, etc.
well, they're gonna AEW is gonna be here in March for Dynamite taping, and I'll probably go.
In Minneapolis.
St. Paul,
Oh, all right, cool. Well, then we got SummerSlam going on in St. Paul.
that's in
And
Minneapolis.
oh, is that in August?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, hey, don't forget, man, the Milwaukee Metal Fest in June.
Huh?
We got to go there, man. See the metalheads.
Oh Jesus! Do you want to get your arm broken again?
No, no, but I'll stay out of the mosh pit. I know how to stay in my lane. You just sit
No,
back at the,
no.
I'm one of the guys that sits back at the bar and drinks and just watches everybody else.
We then had a disastrous four-way tag match. And I want to emphasize this was a fucking disaster.
I don't ever remember seeing a four-way tag match that was really good, but this seemed kind of sloppy, confusing.
A mess.
I don't know exactly. Like I said, it's like so much of what they do. What's the goal? Because if the goal is to increase your viewers and keep the fans interested, then on a lot of fronts they're failing. Sorry to say.
Anyway, Alpha Academy won. Otis hit the worm. Nobody cared.
Yeah, there you go. You got Otis and Tozawa. It's just he's nothing but a comedy character. Everything he does, even in his little rally that they always do, he
They're
always
gonna
has
get
to.
killed by the Usos. They're gonna get killed by the Usos. Anyway,
Well, he just makes all these uh, funny comedic uh, facial expressions, like he's playing the moron, and it was never convincing to me.
well, we then had the highlight of this show. AJ Styles versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. And when I tell you, this was the best part of the show, and it wasn't close.
Yeah, I would agree. Although I didn't like the ending, I wasn't
No,
surprised at all by the ending. But
no, the ending sucked, but in terms of like
The way the match
Actual
built, to where it built
actual
until the end, it was great.
match construction. This was the best match, and it wasn't close. And it made everything else on this show look shit.
Yeah, I thought it
Because
was very well done.
this is two guys who know what the hell they're doing. Not to say everybody else on this show doesn't, but they give those two guys a lot more leeway. Anyway, Russ, do you want to talk about the Royal Rumble that has been the worst promoted Royal Rumble perhaps in the history of ever?
Right. Talk about the least amount of interest and excitement going into what is usually sometimes the most exciting card of the year. This, I have been disappointed ever since they first announced they're going to be in Saudi Arabia. And we got four matches going here. We got the women's rumble, we got the men's rumble, and then we've got the retirement match between Gunther and AJ Styles. And then we've got the other title match, which is uh uh my mind's drawing a blank here. Help me.
Uh, Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre.
Yes, Sammy and Drew, which sounds good. I know we've seen it before. I don't
You
hate that
know,
match, but four matches, you know?
what would be better than the AJ Styles putting his career on the line match?
What's that?
An elimination style four way with AJ, Gunther, Finn, and Punk for the title.
AJ
Gunther, Finn, Punk.
and
Elimination
well,
four way.
elimination, yeah. That makes a little bit more sense than what they're doing, I guess. Maybe.
At least to get the world heavyweight champion on the show. Jesus Christ.
Right, exactly. As far as who's going to be in the Rumbles, I've seen about 15, 16 listed for the men and women's, and it says the rest to be announced. This is a change too, because I remember a lot of the older Royal Rumbles. You would know most of all 30 participants sometimes beforehand, going back into the 90s when they always threw in all these wild cards, like like Royal Rumble 1994, Dick Murdoch, weird
Yeah.
things like that. But I tell you, I got onto Netflix. I watched the first Royal Rumble the other day, last week. It was won by Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I came away from the show feeling like this was actually more entertaining than the majority of what WWE has been broadcasting in recent months. As far
It's
as the
crazy.
entertainment level of the whole overall show,
Anyway, we have AJ versus Gunther with AJ's career on the line. I would presume Gunther is winning that match, but he shouldn't. Drew versus Sami Zayn. Drew's winning that match. There's no way they're going to take the title off him right now.
no,
And then we
no
have the
doubt.
men's Royal Rumble, which is Cody Rhodes. The announced participants are Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Penta, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Braun Breaker, the entirety of the division, pretty much. Javon Evans, Obafemi, and announced on, of all shows, Get Up, which is on ESPN every morning. Randy Orton, that was announced this morning on Get Up. I don't know why they did that, but that's stupid.
On ESPN.
Yeah.
Okay.
My prediction for who wins the Rumble, by the way, is probably Braun Breaker. That would be my guess. That's the only thing that makes sense. Him or Oba. I mean, those are the two that make sense. Maybe Roman, but other than that, it's those three guys and nobody else.
I
And then
think
we
it's
have
I think they should give it to Braun Breaker. That would make the most sense to me.
him or Oba. Oba Femi would make sense if they really want to push him. Then in the
Yeah,
women's rumble, we have Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Bailey, Lyra, Valkyria, Asuka. I would presume Kyrie Sane as well, but not listed here. Chelsea Green, Jordan Grace, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, and Julia. That's pretty much the entire SmackDown women's division right there.
right there.
And Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch are confirmed as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Natalia in there as among the other 15.
Who's your pick to win the women's rumble? Because I have one.
Well, I think it'll probably be let's see, you said Bailey is going to be in there?
Yes, Bailey is confirmed, but Bailey's not winning it again. She just won it 2 years
Well, I
ago.
really don't know who would be the most likely pick, you know. Who do you feel like the number one contender is?
I think there's three choices. One, Jordan Grace.
Yeah.
That just kind of makes sense. Liv Morgan, because clearly they want her in a prominent position. Or if Bianca Belair comes back,
Oh, yeah. That would be yeah, I never thought about it. I kind of forgot about her. If she's ready to come back, that would make sense.
because Jade's
She
got the
has been
title.
missed. I think she's been missed on SmackDown too, you know.
Oh my goodness, tell me about it. Russ, I'm not expecting a great show on Saturday. I'm really not.
Not either. I imagine they might throw Jade Cargill in there, but
No. They're not adding any more matches. I think this is
no,
it.
I mean to the Rumble roster.
No, Jade Cargill's got the belt.
Okay, all right, that's right. But there's problems with that. There's big problems with that, and the situation is not getting any better. They're gonna
No,
have to figure out some way to get that title off of her and
I
send
would
her down to,
presume at Mania they're going to take the belt off her.
you know, if this was the 1990s, they could her down to send her down to Ohio, you know, to learn for a year or two, and then bring her back the way they used to do with a lot of their guys. But they don't have that developmental system anymore. Now all they got is NXT, and it is what it is, and it's not as good a system by any means.
No. Well, for as short as we are on time, I do want to talk about one more thing. The Andrade contract situation continues to perplex and confuse most. Here's what happened. There was a non-compete. From my understanding, there was some sort of buyout on that non-compete. Somebody bought it out. I don't know who. Again, I'm not reporting this. I don't know. This is just what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody bought out the non-compete, and then he went back to AEW.
All right.
There was a buyout. There was a number. Everything's got a price, especially with TKO. And
Oh, sure.
yeah, that was it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it is a little confusing.
Anyway,
He was on both he was back and forth there for a couple of weeks. It confused people. That's like back in the day when Rick Rude was on Nitro on Raw the same night.
that was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right, folks, we will be back here presumably Saturday night to
Yeah,
talk about the Royal Rumble,
definitely. We'll set up the time.
which I
Let's hope
expect we're
for
both going to be some varying level of angry.
I'm hoping for a really, really good show, but I'm not gonna expect a great show because I don't want to be disappointed.
Don't expect anything from this fucking company.
Well, we'll see. You know, they pulled it out before, but right now, Triple H's booking is in the doldrums. It's kind of in a rut.
Well, that's a nice way of putting it. All right, folks. We will see you right back here post Royal Rumble, and then hopefully the show doesn't suck because I fully expect it to. And
Well,
cross
if
your
it does
fingers.
suck, then that's a win.
Enjoy Dynamite tonight. Maybe
Yeah.
don't watch SmackDown on Friday. It's not worth your time most of the time. Although SmackDown's been kind of better than Raw lately. Like
But
since they started
they
calling
went
people
back
up.
to the 3 hour format though, and that does not help.
Yeah, but then they called a bunch of people up. So there's a bunch of young talent on there again. So it's fine for the most part.
All right.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment,
All
subscribe.
right.
Go check out the James Marv Show, which I co-host now. That's a new thing. That's a new
All
development.
right. You
And
got two brilliant minds working on the same show. It's the must see.
Yeah. So go check that out. I'll be on there.
Right.
I was probably on there today if you're watching this the day it comes out. So go watch that. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Damon, play our fucking music.